Yeah, getting back briefly to the Steadicam situation. Steadicam it's a harness that you wear, and it's got like a robot arm that's attached to the harness on a gimbal, and a gimbal is it's a little device that that kind of basically absorbs movement. So when you have a camera on it, and I work for NBC and Telemundo on the NBC side. You know, we're shooting the Steve Harvey show. We use the Steadicam a lot for behind-the-scenes stuff. But anyways, the camera goes on this robot arm, and you can basically walk around and do all sorts of movements, and the camera will be, it's almost like it's floating, because the gimbal absorbs all that motion. But the technology has come a long way from that Steadicam to the Steadicam that is used nowadays. Now there's all sorts of other different kinds of camera stabilizations that, and you guys are totally in the right frame of mind to really accept technology. It's smooth. You know, I have my business partner Jim, I always make fun of him for this because when he was in college, he says, I'm going to go into television, I don't really need to worry about computers. And how ridiculous does that sound nowadays, right? So, you know, one of the things is, you know, absorb as much as you can. But I'm glad to hear that a lot of you are doing what you do. You guys love it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, awesome, awesome. That's one thing, you know, I started the business in 1994 with my, you know, Jim is a college friend of mine, college buddy. We started in 94. This June, you know, we'll be, you know, kind of celebrating 2 decades of working on some amazing projects, working with some great people. Chicago is a really, I mean, it's a big city, but the production community, you know, you start to work and you start to know a lot of people, both on camera and behind the scenes, technicians, DJs, audio guys, you know, lighting guys. I mean, we all kind of know each other. It's kind of like a little family, and it's really cool. And I think in any aspect, in any field, there's that. But it's, you know, obviously being a TV guy or being a broadcast guy is so different than being like a real estate guy or a banker guy. You know, they have their respective families too, but it's just it's so different because we're kind of like a nuts and bolts kind of crowd. You know what I mean? So I had noticed that Julio Martinez was down here also talking to a group, and I work with him a lot. But I'm probably gonna echo a lot of the points that he made, and obviously add to what was already discussed. You know, he talked about being multi-talented, and in this field is so, you know, obviously I asked what you guys are into, and there's just so much out there. You know, you can be a writer, you can be a DJ, you can be an audio technician, you can be a television and broadcast engineer, you know, there's all sorts of little worlds within the broadcast, you know, umbrella. And it's really good to absorb as much as you can, especially in a place like this. And when you start going into the real world to work, absorb as much as you can, because at least you'll know what you don't like to do, and then focus on what it is that really kind of sparks your imagination. Because it's like any muscle that you work out. You just have to work at it and enjoy what you do, and then find out, you know, if you don't really know exactly what it is that you like, just, you know, find out what you don't like, and then you can kind of like pinpoint it, you know, after that. As corny as it sounds, you know, I say this all the time, and I heard Julio say it in the YouTube video, don't give up on your dreams. It's corny, but it's so true. And, you know, not giving up on what you like to do is very important. And it's also obviously important to have a community of peers that are doing the same thing that you're doing, so you guys can kind of like feed off of each other. That's very important. You know, family, friends, the support that you get from them is invaluable. And again, like I said, absorb as much as you can. Learn new stuff. One of the important things about learning new stuff is understanding what that role in particular, how how that plays in the overall bigger picture. Each job is different, but each job in this world, I'd like to say, is directly related. You can't have you can't have a videographer without an editor. You can't have an editor without a videographer. You can't have a producer without a planner. You can't have it's very again, this is corny, but there's no I in team, and this is a you look at the credits at the end of a production of a movie, it's not just one guy that did it, it's a whole list, and everyone has a role. And when you're doing that role, when you're performing that role, you guys should really be proud of what you're doing, because it's contributing to something bigger than just what you're doing specifically. It's very important to know that. It's important to realize that, because there's always another guy that's like, you're doing a job and you have to either hand it over to somebody else. How is he going to perceive that? There's an old company called Zenith. The quality goes in before the name goes on, and if you're doing it, your name is being associated with that work. All you have is your name. And again, like I said, in this community, people know what kind of work you do, and if you're proud of your work, other people are going to be able to tell. And some of you music guys will like this. This was shot with one camera, and you editor guys will see, we shot with one camera, but I think this is the one. I made it look like it was a 2-camera shoot. They didn't have a lot of money, but I wanted it to be successful for them. And then also, when you run a company, you want to basically, a lot of times they say, well, we don't have a budget. You want to try to kind of surpass their expectations. One, so they remember you. It's all about repeat, business, but also about really making them remember you as an individual, and saying, oh, wow, this guy cares about us, so we'll call him again. So I mean, that's one of the keys too about making stuff work.
I started when I was 13, just doing local recordings with friends and doing little mixtapes here and there. And I actually used to sing at a club called 20 Below. They used to have an open mic all the time, so we would go there. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I've been here most of my life and grew up in the northern suburbs. I used to love Sparkle, this movie from like the 70s, and I used to sing like En Vogue songs all the time.
Wake up to the sun shining bright. Got my baby lying by my side. Feels just like a candy rain. You're the sweetest thing.
I just finished recording in Chicago, actually. My CD is supposed to drop January 2005, so I'm looking forward to that. It's called First Impression. It's Latin music mixed with reggae music, mixed with jazz, mixed with neo soul, mixed with, pop, everything. I just want you to be able to feel my music. I want you to be able to get up and dance when you hear my music. I want you to be like, girl, that's my song.
So that piece, there was not a real budget for that, so I pretty much shot it, I edited it, I did the graphics for it, I lit it. So that's why it's important to be multi-talented because you're going to come up with a lot of situations like that, and you know, you'll be I think you'll be an asset to any either company or any endeavor that you put yourself to if you are multi-talented. 90% of my work is at SPI-TV, doing the stuff that we do over there. And I love what I do. I've never worked a day in my life. It's just something that is in my blood, and I wouldn't, like, if I weren't in the field, I think I'd still be doing it. I mean, I can, you know, my wife doesn't like this, but I probably would spend 24 hours at the studio just doing stuff, because to me, it's just so much fun. But that's the thing, you have to find what you love, because then there's no excuse for you not to do it well.